Colorado has a reputation built on postcards, ski resorts, mountain views, craft breweries. What that reputation quietly skips over is a state that leads the entire nation in avalanche deaths, not even close to second place. A canyon that has killed people in cars, trains, and on foot for over a century and still manages to surprise people. A highway with no guardrails on some of its most exposed cliff sections, and a name that tells you exactly what the road thinks of human life. And a flood that gave an entire canyon only minutes of warning and killed 144 people on one summer night. Colorado is one of the most physically dangerous states in the country, and most visitors never know it until it is too late. These are 15 of its most dangerous places, ranked, documented, and still out there right now. Subscribe to Wild States Facts before we start. Number 15. Mount Evans Summit Road Front Range. Mount Evans Scenic Byway climbs to 14,130 feet, making it the highest paved road in North America. What the tourist brochures mention less often is that the road was built in the 1920s for sightseeing, not for safety, and it shows. Narrow lanes, no guardrails for long stretches, sheer drop-offs, and weather that can shift from clear skies to whiteout in under an hour, even in July. At the summit, the air contains roughly 30% less oxygen than at sea level, which means altitude sickness is a real and regular problem for drivers who underestimate how fast the elevation gains. The mountain does not grade on effort. Number 14. Maroon Bells, Elk Mountains. The Maroon Bells near Aspen are consistently ranked among the most photographed mountains in North America, which is exactly why they are on this list. The two peaks are made primarily of Maroon Formation mudstone, a rock type so crumbly and unstable that climbers have named it the Deadly Bells. The rock breaks off in large slabs without warning, and roots that look solid from below have collapsed under climbers who had every reason to believe they were safe. Multiple deaths have occurred here, not because of bad decisions, but because the rock itself cannot be trusted. The mountains look like a painting. They behave like a trap. Number 13. Glenwood Canyon, Interstate 70. The 12-mile stretch of Interstate 70 through Glenwood Canyon is one of the most technically complex highway segments ever built in the United States, carved through solid rock with cliff walls rising hundreds of feet on both sides and the Colorado River running directly below. Rockfall closes it regularly. In 2021, a wildfire-triggered debris flow sent mud and boulders onto the road, destroyed a section of highway, and shut down the main east-west corridor through the state for months. The canyon is also a flooding trap. The same walls that make it spectacular make it impossible to evacuate quickly when water rises. The road has been rebuilt and rerouted multiple times. The canyon keeps testing it. Number 12. Black Bear Pass, near Telluride. Black Bear Pass is an unpaved, single-lane road near Telluride that gains and loses thousands of feet of elevation through a series of switchbacks so tight that some require multi-point turns on exposed ledges with no guardrail and several hundred feet of open air below. Several insurance policies specifically exclude coverage for vehicles that travel it. The road is one-way in places, meaning if you meet oncoming traffic, one vehicle has to reverse on a shelf road above a cliff face. Local rescue teams respond to vehicle accidents and rollovers here almost every season, often from drivers who saw photographs and assumed the pass was manageable without experience or a proper vehicle. Number 11. West Salt Creek Valley near Colburn. In late May 2014, heavy unseasonal rain caused a massive section of the West Salt Creek Valley headwall to collapse, sending an avalanche of rock and debris down the slope at speeds estimated around 140 miles per hour. The slide was powerful enough to trigger its own earthquake. 3 men working on the property were never found. Their bodies were buried under millions of tons of debris. Almost nobody outside the region heard about it because the collapse happened on private ranch land with limited media access. The same geological instability that produced it exists across large sections of Colorado's western slope, sitting quietly above valleys and roads that most people would never look at twice. Number 10. The Animas River Corridor, southwest Colorado. On August 5, 2015, an EPA-supervised cleanup operation at the Gold King mine above Silverton accidentally breached a plug holding back decades of accumulated toxic mine drainage. 3 million gallons of mustard yellow water loaded with lead, arsenic, cadmium, and other heavy metals poured into the Animas River and flowed into New Mexico and Utah before anyone could stop it. The river ran visibly orange for days. Over 23,000 abandoned mines sit across Colorado, most of them leaking quietly into watersheds with no cleanup crews and no monitoring. The Gold King spill was not an anomaly. It was the one time someone was watching. Number 9. The Million Dollar Highway, US 550. The 25-mile stretch of US Route 550 between Ouray and Silverton has no guardrails on some of its most exposed cliff sections, drops more than 3,000 feet in elevation, and runs through multiple active avalanche zones that close it with almost no warning in winter. The highway earned its name from the cost of construction, not from any safety feature. Local drivers know to check conditions before attempting it in bad weather. Out-of-state visitors and truck drivers often do not get that information in time. It consistently records some of the highest crash and fatality rates of any mountain highway in the state. Number 8. Woodstock, Colorado, Avalanche Country. Most people have never heard of Woodstock, Colorado, which is part of what makes it important. In 1884, an avalanche buried the mining town west of Salida, killing 13 of the 18 people it hit, including 6 children. The town was never rebuilt. A sign now marks the site. Between 1860 and 1900, avalanches killed more than 440 documented people across Colorado's mining regions, and those are only the recorded deaths. Since 1950, Colorado has accounted for roughly 1/4 of all avalanche fatalities in the United States, more than any other state, and almost double the rate of Alaska in second place. That record has never changed. Number 7. The Elk Mountains Backcountry. The Elk Mountains near Aspen and Crested Butte consistently produce some of the most complex and unpredictable avalanche conditions in the country, combining high winds, steep north-facing slopes, and a snowpack that builds instability layer by layer through the season. In March 2013, a group of 6 experienced skiers triggered a slide in the Sheep Creek drainage near Loveland Pass. 5 of them died, leaving 1 survivor. The group had the right gear and the right experience. The slide did not care. The backcountry in the Elk Mountains is not forgiving of anything, not inexperience and not experience either. Number 6. Pawnee Buttes, Eastern Colorado. Eastern Colorado does not look dangerous. That is the problem. The Pawnee Buttes area on the high plains is exposed, isolated, and far from any major road or emergency service. Summer thunderstorms develop over the open prairie with almost no warning, and lightning strikes on exposed ridgelines with nothing around for miles to redirect the current. Rattlesnakes, heat exhaustion, and flash flooding in the dry creek channels below the buttes have all required rescue responses. The Eastern Plains consistently record some of the highest lightning fatality rates in the state, on terrain that most visitors approach completely unprepared because nothing about it looks threatening until it is. Number 5. Chalk Creek Canyon, Chaffee County. Chalk Creek Canyon near Nathrop sits in a narrow valley below the Continental Divide, and it has been collecting disasters for over a century. In August 1994, a flash flood roared through the canyon without warning, killing several campers in campgrounds that had no effective evacuation route. The same basic geography, a steep, narrow drainage below high elevation terrain that funnels rainfall straight down, has triggered multiple flood events in the canyon over the decades. Upstream conditions can change faster than any warning system can communicate to people in the valley floor below. Number 4. Glenwood Springs, Hanging Lake Trail. The trail to Hanging Lake above Glenwood Springs is one of the most popular hikes in Colorado and one of the most consistently rescue-prone. The trail gains roughly 1,000 feet in 1.2 miles over wet, unstable rock, and the lake sits directly above a gorge with sheer drop-offs on 3 sides. Falls from the restricted viewing area have killed visitors who step past barriers for photographs. Flash floods in the canyon below have trapped hikers who started their hike in clear weather. The trail now requires a paid permit and a shuttle specifically because emergency response demand became unsustainable. The permit did not change the trail. It just changed who knew what they were getting into. Number 3. The Big Thompson Canyon, US 34. On the night of July 31, 1976, a slow-moving storm stalled over the mountains above Big Thompson Canyon and dropped 12 inches of rain in just 4 hours over a narrow drainage with steep walls and almost no room for the water to go anywhere except straight down. The resulting flood killed 144 people, making it the deadliest natural disaster in modern Colorado history. The canyon's walls gave most victims only minutes of warning before the water arrived. The same narrow canyon geography that made the 1976 flood so lethal still exists today, and the same kind of slow-moving summer thunderstorms that caused it still park over the Front Range most summers. The terrain has not changed. Number 2. Red Mountain Pass, Avalanche Corridor. Red Mountain Pass on US 550 between Ouray and Silverton sits at 11,018 feet and runs through one of the highest density avalanche corridors in the country. The Colorado Department of Transportation regularly uses explosives to trigger controlled avalanches above the road before they release naturally. 19 named avalanche paths cross the highway along this stretch. In 1978, a snowplow driver was killed when an avalanche hit his vehicle mid-operation. In 1992, several people died when slides struck vehicles on the pass in rapid succession. The road stays open through winter because closing it would cut off the only route into Silverton. That calculation has always involved accepting a certain level of unavoidable risk. Number 1. The San Juan Mountains, total avalanche country. The San Juan Mountains in southwestern Colorado are the most avalanche-prone terrain in the United States. The combination of extreme snowfall, high winds, complex topography, and a pattern of warm, dry early seasons followed by heavy, late-season loading creates perfect conditions for large, unpredictable slides year after year. Between 1859 and today, the San Juans have killed more people by avalanche than any comparable mountain range in North America. Mining communities in the late 1800s lost entire work crews to single slides. Modern backcountry travelers with full equipment, current forecasts, and years of experience still die here most winters. The San Juans do not distinguish between the prepared and the unprepared with any real consistency. They are the most dangerous mountains in the country for the most common reason. They make the most snow. They hold it the most unstably, and they have been proving it for over 150 years. That is 15 places where Colorado's geography decided that beautiful and deadly could mean exactly the same thing, and most of them never make it into a travel guide. If you have been to one of these spots or know a place that should have made the list, tell us in the comments. We read every single one. And if wild, real geography is your thing, subscribe to Wild States Facts, where I am covering every state, one dangerous and fascinating place at a time. See you in the next one.